Over the years, LEGO has created hundreds of animal molds to bring life into the brick-built worlds. These have come in a ton of different shapes and sizes, spreading across a ton of different habitats, and if you're anything like me, you probably enjoy trying to collect as many of these animals as you can to complement the rest of your LEGO collection. So in today's video, I'm counting down the best, most important LEGO animals. For parameters, I'm only including animals that are uniquely molded, not brick-built, and I'm not including any dinosaurs, as there are so many at this point that needs an entire video of its own. I couldn't limit myself to just 10, so we're looking at the top 12, and since we have so much to cover, we better get into it. For number 12, I've started our list with this dog mold, which can double as both a Labrador or Retriever. What earns this dog a spot on this list is just how important Labs and Retrievers are to so many people around the world. According to the UK Kennel Club, the Labrador is the most popular dog in all of Britain, and it's the same for the American Kennel Club, as the Lab is also the most popular breed in the United States. With that in mind, I have no doubt that these LEGO pups are a huge draw to millions of people wanting to get a LEGO version of their household pets to go along with their signature minifigures. Surprisingly, this is a new mold for LEGO, as it was only released last year in 2021 as part of their city sets. I appreciate that LEGO made two colors for the mold, one tan and the other reddish brown, but they can be a bit difficult for fans to get a hold of as they've only ever been released in one set each, both of which are relatively expensive. The tan version came in this family house, which sells for $60, and the reddish brown was part of this city center, which is $100. However, if you can't afford the entire set and want a bonus tip for just getting the dogs at a fraction of the price, here's what you can do. On Google, look up LEGO's Pick-a-Brick system, where you can buy individual parts. Type in the set number and scroll until you find the dog. This should allow you to buy each for less than $2, plus some shipping expenses. That's how I got mine. The only downside to this dog is that it's not posable at all, as it is a really small mold. However, I still think it deserves a place on this list for how good it turned out with its furry tail and perfectly shaped head and ears. Just make sure they don't have an accident in the middle of your perfectly crafted LEGO living room. Following in the furry footprints of our previous entry, I've decided to include this cat mold, as cats are the second most popular pet in the world, just behind dogs, so their importance can't be understated. I've chosen this particular mold as I think it's one of LEGO's best, and also one of its most used, as it has now come in around 10 different versions. It first debuted back in 2013 in the Series 11 collectible minifigures accompanying the grandma, and has since gone on to become, at least in my opinion, the most iconic LEGO cat. I particularly like how its head is turned up in such a cute way to make it easy to create poses where the cat and owner are looking at each other. For a bonus fact, the rarest version of this cat is this version in dark bluish gray with a pink nose, which was released exclusively inside of LEGO stores back in 2019, where you'd have to pick one up yourself from the Build a Minifigure bins. Every other version of cat has been released in a widely available retail set, so this version stands out as special for its rarity. For number 10 on our list, I've chosen this owl mold as it has become incredibly popular, particularly among Harry Potter fans, as owls are such an integral part of that theme as a whole. However, this owl hasn't been limited to just that franchise, as it has made appearances sprinkled across other sets, including this one from LEGO City, this Friends High School, and this Winter Village. This owl has come in 8 different color variants, giving fans plenty of options to stock up on. And let's be honest, owls are just awesome animals. Next up on our list, we actually have another dog breed, as I've decided to go with this husky. But once you hear my reasoning, I think you'll forgive me for being maybe just a bit repetitive. What sets this husky apart from other LEGO dogs, making him so cool, is that every single one LEGO makes is unique. This is due to how the part is molded. Every husky has a mix of both dark gray and white, but the colors are molded together in a way that's not precise, which gives each one a slightly different look, and some really stand out, like this one that I have, which has almost an entirely white face. If you compare the others, you'll see that each one has a different amount of white throughout the body, tail, and ears. I think this is a case where less precision with the molding process actually gives the figures a cooler look, and ends up making each piece look special and unique. If you're enjoying the list so far, don't forget to subscribe, as I'm constantly working on new LEGO content, such as top 10 lists like this and custom LEGO creations. Stepping things up for number 8, I've chosen none other than the king of the jungle, the lion. Released in 2021, the lion is part of the wildlife rescue sub-theme of LEGO City, which provides fans with a ton of animal molds, such as this new elephant and monkey. However, I think the coolest of the bunch is this lion, as LEGO has surprisingly never released one prior. They had the opportunity to back in 2017 as part of the jungle sub-theme, as during that line they released other big cats which had a similar mold, such as the black panther, leopard, and tiger. However, they ended up saving the lion for 2021's wildlife rescue, which focuses much more on savanna animals. The lion, like other big cats, is more posable than many LEGO animals, as both its head and back legs are able to rotate, allowing for running, climbing, and other poses. However, the lion's head isn't quite as posable as the others, as its mane gets in the way just a bit, but the cool factor is definitely worth it. When the lion was first revealed, I immediately figured fans would jump on the opportunity to build their own Pride Rock Lion King customs. But surprisingly, I haven't really found any that have received a lot of popularity, so I may need to try one myself for a future video. Regardless, I certainly think the lion is cool enough to earn a spot on this list. For a bonus fact, LEGO released an alternate white version of the lion with a tan mane and blue eyes, which I've always thought looked interesting, but just a bit weird in how striking the colors are compared to most lions. I initially thought LEGO was going for some kind of albino lion look, but when researching this video, I learned that white lions actually exist as a rare color mutation in the wild, specifically in a place called the Timbavati Nature Reserve in South Africa, and if that's what LEGO was going for, then that just makes it even cooler. For the first fantasy animal on our list, I've chosen the warg from the Hobbit theme. The wargs made their first LEGO debut back in 2012 in the set aptly named Attack of the Wargs, which is based on the first film of the Hobbit trilogy. This set would contain two warg variants, the dark bluish gray and also the white warg ridden by Azog himself, who surprisingly wasn't included in this set, which doesn't really make sense. But regardless, the wargs are still awesome. They have molded fur as well as prints for their eyes and noses. Their heads are bendable, and they also have a separate jaw piece that allows their mouths to open. The following year, a third warg would be released in the Mirkwood Elf Army set, one of the absolute best sets to ever come out of the Middle-earth line in my opinion. Unlike the previous two versions, this dark brown variant's eyes were a bit less pronounced in how glowy they look, and I think that makes it look a bit more realistic than the other two. If someone wanted to get creative, I could see them using this one as a hyena or maybe even some kind of wolf in a custom set. For the first entry in the second half of our list, I've chosen the newer horse mold, which in my opinion improves upon the classic style in a lot of ways. The new version came onto the scene in 2012 alongside the first wave of The Lord of the Rings, where it appeared in multiple sets such as Gandalf Arrives and Helm's Deep, with an evil red-eyed version of the beast appearing in the Attack on Weathertop set. Since then, the mold has appeared in numerous themes ranging from the LEGO Movie to City and the Lone Ranger. Like the big cats mentioned prior, the horse's hind legs are posable as well as the head. What earns these horses distinction is that they are one of the only animals to ever receive uniquely molded accessory pieces to make them that much cooler. These have included battle helmets as well as saddles, and even these pieces called bardings, which have most recently appeared in the Lion Knight's Castle set and are highly sought after by LEGO Castle fans. Getting into the top 5, I've chosen the dewback from Star Wars, which has appeared in two sets, the 2014 Mos Eisley Cantina playset and the 2020 Master Builder $400 Cantina. Admittedly, the dewback doesn't have much mobility, as the only movable piece is the mouth. I really wish the legs would have been movable in a similar fashion to a LEGO Triceratops, but I think LEGO was aiming for accuracy to the on-screen version of the creature instead of prioritizing play and mobility. And in regard to accuracy, this mold is spot on. It has so many fine curves and details throughout the head, body, and tail that give it an astounding resemblance to the original. It even has speckled body printing that gives it that scaly, tough look. It also is the perfect size and can be saddled with a sand trooper. For a bonus fact, the dewback's printing is different between the 2014 and 2020 versions. I actually think the 2014 version's eyes look a little bit less cartoony than the 2020 version, in spite of the 2021 being the more adult-oriented of the two since it was packaged in a $400 set. Additionally, there was also an older version of the dewback that released way back in the early years of LEGO Star Wars, but that mold is a lot less detailed and a lot less good in my opinion. For number 4, I'm picking the woolly mammoth. Among other LEGO animals, it definitely stands out as LEGO rarely, if ever, does prehistoric animals besides dinosaurs. In fact, the only other I'm aware of is the saber-toothed tiger, which came out alongside the mammoth, both of which were part of the 2018 Arctic theme. So getting both of these ancient beasts was awesome. I considered the saber-toothed tiger for this list, but I think the mammoth is more epic, especially since it's so unique, and this list already has a different large cat. The mammoth only ever released in one set, and naturally it was the flagship of the 2018 wave, the Arctic Mobile Exploration Base. Consequently, the mammoth is insanely expensive now. The cheapest in the United States are $50 to $60. The mold for the mammoth's body is rather simple, but it does have some nice detail for the fur, especially around the bottom of the belly and legs. The best feature is the entirely separate head assembly, which is actually on a swiveling ball joint, giving the head a surprising amount of posability that is uncommon for LEGO animals. The trunk is also a separate piece that can be swiveled 360 degrees, giving even more variation. When making this list, I considered the regular elephant from the wildlife rescue theme mentioned earlier, but the mammoth wins out since it has such a posable head, a feature missing from the elephant in spite of it being a more recent mold. For an extra bit, I also like how realistic the style of the mammoth's eyes are. The only thing that would have made the mammoth even better would have been some mobility in the legs. Breaking into the top 3, I'm going with the LEGO bear. Over the years, LEGO bears have been surprisingly rare, with the only molded version besides this one being the classic from 2000 that was only around for a year or so in LEGO's first system-based Arctic line. The newer version released in 2012 in dark brown and has since been sprinkled across a few other sets in black and white as well, but they're still pretty difficult to find and none have been released in nearly 5 years, with the last release in 2018. Some notable sets including the bear have been the Forest Police Station, which debuted the animal, the 2014 Arctic Base Camp, which also notably included a sleigh of the Huskies mentioned earlier on this list, and the 2018 set Mountain Arrest, which included other details to complement the bear, such as a bee's nest and a minifigure with bear scratches across his chest. That minifigure with its unique hairpiece and the scared, witless face has always been one of my personal favorites. It's also just hilarious that the minifigure was interrupted in the middle of his bath, caught in his underwear by a bear trying to get some honey and some police officers chasing down a robber. The bear's hind legs and head are both posable. This makes it easy to pose the bear doing things like running, catching fish, or getting into a camper's trash. I love that it's perfectly in scale with minifigures, and its mouth is the size of a Lego bar, so it can munch on Lego fish. For a bonus fact, the minifigure mentioned earlier has bear paws on his undies. For the oldest entry on this list, we have the classic monkey, which first debuted in 1989, and in spite of its age, it's still the best LEGO monkey ever released in my opinion. LEGO using 4 minifigure arms for it is genius, making it not only the most posable LEGO monkey, but the most posable animal on this list. The monkey's tail is also curled in a way that allows it to be hung from trees and other objects. Unfortunately, the mold seems to be completely retired at this point, as its last appearance was back in a couple of Ninjago sets in 2016, which included a silver version. The last chance prior to that to get the brown one was in 2011 in the Banana Balance game set. Throughout its run, the monkey appeared in multiple themes, such as Jungle, Paradisa, and even Belleville, but it's most well known for frequenting the pirate theme, where it often played the role of mischievous companion in numerous classic sets, such as the original Black Sea's Barracuda, Skull's Eye Schooner, and Skull Island. If LEGO chooses not to ever bring back the classic monkey, I still think they could incorporate the use of 4 minifigure arms into modern LEGO monkeys, which have relied on single molded pieces that just are a lot less fun. And now, for the number 1 spot on this list, the best LEGO animal, one that brings back so much nostalgia and still holds up today, the classic dragon. Initially released in 1993, the classic dragon has become one of the most recognizable icons of LEGO Castle and of LEGO as a whole. I love just how LEGO the dragon is, but that might not sound like it makes sense, so let me explain. I think it's extremely LEGO to make the dragon's headpiece and tail the same pieces used in the classic LEGO alligator, since LEGO is all about creativity and finding new and unique ways to use pieces. Additionally, the dragon can be customized in other ways through the clips on its side and studs on its back. Of course, those clips are usually used for wings, but there's nothing stopping someone from using them to attach something like rocket launchers to the dragon, which is what LEGO is really all about. And I can't understate just how much LEGO Castle means to so many LEGO fans, and the dragon was such an important part of that theme through the 90s. It appeared in sets like Night Lord's Castle and Fire Breathing Fortress. The dragon received 2 color variants back in the day, as it also came in black, which looks especially cool. For other details, the dragon's teeth and mouth are molded in a special way that allows it to hold bar pieces in 2 directions. This allows for poses such as munching on bones or breathing fire. These days, the dragons aren't too excessively expensive, selling for around $8 to $20 in decent condition. It's another example of an animal that really could have stayed around for a lot longer, but its last appearance was over 20 years ago in the 2000 set Dragon Rider. In spite of it being long since retired, I have no doubt that the classic dragon will continue to be a LEGO icon for decades to come. With that, we've reached the end of our list. This was a long one. When I first started the script, I really wasn't sure how long a best animals list would be, but hopefully I've been able to point out some interesting stories and facts along the way. Let me know which animals I left out down in the comments. One that immediately comes to mind is Smog, but I already had included the classic dragon and didn't want this list to be too excessive or repetitive. If it does well, and if you guys have a lot of suggestions, I'll also consider a part 2. Let me know your favorites and opinions below, and until next time, see you later.